Penfield Public Library Board of Trustees. We have a quorum here tonight. We also have Bunny Brinkman, our library director, and Deanna Herco, our clerk, and Linda Kohl, who is our liaison with the town board. Brett Holley and Denise O'Reilly are excused for one is work, one is a family issue for this evening. So welcome to everyone. Welcome to those of you who are watching at home. We're happy to have you with us. Our public participation is that we are doing our meeting on Zoom and on public TV and on YouTube. I should remember that because my cat always watches that. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Do we have any corrections or comments? I have one, and it's on the top of the second page, and it was next month. I will send the results from our 2 surveys to Chris Lopez. I won't have them. I'm going to send them to him after we present the ones tonight. So if you just want to change that one word, that would be great.
You want me to delete it from the minutes and put it into this meeting minutes?
No, just make that change, and then we'll, if nobody else has any changes, then we can just say they were approved as corrected, and then that'll be fine. Thank you. Did anybody else have anything? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as correct? Judy, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay. We will skip over the next thing we have is communications, and we actually have a letter that we received this time. As a member of the Communications Committee, would you like to read it?
I will. We have a letter here from Bunny. It says, "Dear Board, effective December 30th, 2021, I am retiring from Penfield Public Library. Sincerely yours, Bernadette Brinkman."
So,
congratulations, Bunny.
yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. A well-earned retirement, and we need to accept Bunny's retirement letter. Would someone like to move? Melissa? And second, Rachel? All right, all in favor? Okay, that's official. Thank you. And we will talk a little more about Bunny's upcoming retirement in a later part of the meeting. Linda, would you like to give your town liaison report?
Well, we have the budget hearings tomorrow night. There was a little glitch in the advertising. Messenger Post is not going to be around much longer. And actually, one of the resolutions tomorrow night is to go to the Webster Herald to put our public notices in. But that being said, our public hearing was going to be 2 weeks ago, and it's going to be tomorrow night. So if anybody wants to watch and see the public hearing to the budget for next year, it'll be on at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And otherwise, we have the Halloween festivities on Friday. That'll be exciting. The Ghost Walk. I'll be one of the leaders of the Ghost Walk around the Oakwood Cemetery, and the Halloween festivities will all be at the community center, so that's going to be fun. We actually have 3 public hearings tomorrow night on town board. One is that being the budget. The other is something interesting to a lot of people that probably don't know what's going on as far as this goes, is about cannabis. We're having a public hearing about opting out of allowing for consumption sites. It's like lounges for smoking pot. So that's going to be a public hearing to see how people feel about that. And we're saying we want to opt out of it, but, got to see what the residents feel. So that'll be interesting. And the other one is about this historic property. It was always known as the Forster House because Bob Forster, who was an actor back in the day, he owned it on Atlantic Avenue, Browncroft Boulevard. And then these people bought it a couple of years ago and put apartments in and fixed it all up. It looks beautiful. And she moved away, so somebody else is going to buy the property, but we have to go through a whole public hearing process because it's a historic property, so that'll be tomorrow night as well. So we have, some interesting public hearings tomorrow night if anybody wants to watch. And any questions about anything that's happening? That I can,
So can you,
what do you got? What do you got, Judy?
I was just curious about this cannabis hearings. I'm out of the loop, I guess.
Well, New York State is allowing the marijuana, cannabis to be, legalized in New York
Right,
State. So,
yeah, that I know.
so the towns have to decide whether they want to have like lounges for, sort of like bars. They have how cigar lounges,
Yeah,
there's hookah
yeah.
lounges. and
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
So we're saying we want to opt out of that opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, it's different. It's something that, it got passed in New York State, and it comes down, it affects all of us, but there hasn't been as much conversation, I don't think, as you would have expected. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We'll wait for Neeraj to arrive before we do finance. Rachel, would you like to talk about, as Personnel Chair, would you like to talk about the search for Buddy's successor?
Bunny was kind enough to send me some examples of a job announcement, and she also sent me the list of eligible candidates. So we'll have an executive session following this meeting to discuss a little bit. And I'm still working on forming, I missed Linda and I didn't get a chance to speak with her. But Melissa and Judy have agreed to be on the search committee from the board.
Good. Good. And thank you for offering to help Rachel. That was really nice so we could get that done. Strategic planning, this is an exciting time because we finally have the results to our community survey. And all in all, I think the results turned out to be very positive.
Did everybody get, I emailed the summary, and then earlier today I emailed the Excel file so you can actually see all the comments that people had entered in the comment section. You could see overall all the feedback was pretty positive. Everybody who filled out the survey was a pretty regular patron of the library, so we really reached them. We had over 1,000 responses. After going in, we realized some of the responses needed to be removed because it was spam, I guess you would say. But we took those out, and it didn't really affect the overall results too much. So, I mean, we can go through.
Well, would you like to just go through and give us the high points?
Sure.
Some of the things, because I think that would be helpful for people to understand.
Sure. Some things that stood out, just when we asked question 4, how would you describe the Penfield Public Library facilities? There were quite a few comments. It was kind of split between being welcoming, but the word outdated came up quite a bit. So that actually helps, I think, as we move forward with any renovations we might be doing. It seems like some of the community at least feels similarly. Let's see, something else, we asked about what other libraries do you visit. A lot of people mentioned East Rochester and Winton Road. So those were 2 that weren't options, but they were mentioned quite a bit in the survey. A lot of comments about the reasons why you would choose to go to a certain library. A lot of people mentioned the friendliness of the staff, so, just another thing to keep in mind. Another thing that I thought was interesting, a lot of comments about updating the children in the teen area. Those 2 areas seem to come up quite a bit in the comments. Meeting spaces and study areas were also mentioned a lot as needing, I guess, more space or updates. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting, we asked what other items would you like to have available besides books, and puzzles came up a lot. Musical instruments were also kind of mentioned quite a bit, and then games. But puzzles and games were the 2 kind of most mentioned. And then at the end, how do you hear about our programs? A lot of people mentioned the rec brochure. So I think it's important that we continue to work with the rec department to get the word out about activities that we're doing. And then we also asked if people were interested in learning more about the Friends, and if they were, to leave their name and their email. And I think we had over 600, we had almost 600 names left of people that wanted to become more involved or learn more about the Friends, which is really good. Wow. Because we're trying to, help the Friends right now build up their volunteer base. So we have quite a list to share with them. So if you have any questions, let me know. But the Excel sheet, the Excel file that I emailed will give you all of the additional comments that you couldn't see in the summary. So.
And are we going to make that available on the trustee page of our website? So if somebody from the community wanted to see the results?
We can make the summary available. I wouldn't, not the Excel file, but the summary I think would be fine.
That would be good.
Yep.
Can we send that to you, Buddy? And
I've got it.
you've got it.
Yeah, Bunny
If you
has
could
it.
ask Miriam to put that up, that would be great. I just think that if it's something where the community is, and we had, it was really 1,100 and some responses. I think that's a pretty good number, because we had about a little under 6,000 that we sent out. So that's a pretty good percentage of people responding. And since there was such an interest, it would be nice to make that available and let people see what it is. And maybe people will become more interested in future surveys.
There were a few comments too, people mentioning, they were appreciative that we were polling the community for these things. So it's good to involve our patrons.
I also thought it was very interesting when Bunny sent out the results of the the Monroe County Library survey, and then they pulled out the comments or about Penfield, and they really correlated quite a bit with, that they thought Penfield was welcoming and that they thought they had a good resource. So it was interesting that they kind of meshed together. I was pleased to see that they were coming from outside of our survey, so.
Yeah.
And then we will be taking the results from the Monroe County Library System Survey, both the comments and the overall, and ours, the comments and the overall, and send those to the plan architects people. And then they will review those, and I think they're going to set up some meetings with staff to talk about what they would be interested in seeing, as well as us. Okay, thank you very much. That was a long process, but I think it turned out well, and I was pleased to see that we had so many responses. Megan, would you like to talk about policies?
Sure. So tonight we have one policy that we're going to be reviewing that was emailed to the director and the members of the board on October 12th to review and give if they had any feedback at that time. Bunny did point out a couple of issues that needed to be corrected, so a revised policy was sent out the next day. This policy is in regard to the term length of the Library Board of Trustees. It had previously been 5 years, and based on some discussion at the last board meeting, we have elected to change that to 3-year terms, and that then also gets us in line with the town board members who also serve 3-year.
Well, the town,
Or with, yes.
The members of town boards.
Or town boards.
different boards.
So in looking through the policies, we did not have a specific policy on trustee term lengths. However, we did have one on the procedure for searching for new trustees. So we went ahead and basically tweaked that policy, kept that, and then added in the term length of the trustees. So I know Bunny had sent some feedback. Did any other board members have any feedback on that?
I just want to add to my comments, Megan, that, of course, all this is covered in the bylaws. The bylaws will also need to be updated to comply with whatever's decided upon in this policy.
Okay.
And before this meeting, there was a NILA policies and procedures discussion going through the trustee handbook. And there was someone from the Hudson Valley, and there was a gentleman, I'm not sure where he was from, and the librarian from the Pioneer Library System in Canandaigua. And one of the questions came up, what is a good policy towards term limits? And
That's interesting.
it was, because I knew we were going to talk about it tonight, and this one gentleman who has been in his role for 35 years said that he thought that the best thing was to have 3-year term limits with one extension, and then people could stay off for 3 years or they could come back, not that you have to do it. And he said what that did was, in most communities where they had that, it built up a whole bunch of former trustees who became very supportive of the library. And it also is a constant way of bringing new ideas forward, because one of the comments to him apparently had been, well, you know, if you're always having that kind of turnover, how do you get anything, how would you have any continuity? And he said, you know, because your job is to go in as a trustee, do the best you can, do your 2 terms, and then make room for someone else.
And actually, on that note, that was another thing that we had discussed previously. There has not been a limit for how many times a trustee can choose to renew. We had decided that we would go ahead and make that 2, so they would be
Yeah.
able to serve 3 consecutive terms. So ultimately 9 years. After that point, they would be asked not to renew their term again. However, after a period of time not being on the board, if there were an opening and they wish to reapply, they could certainly reapply at that point and be considered. So everyone does have a copy of that draft policy, so if they just want to review that, let me know if there need to be any further updates, and then we'll present that for voting at our next meeting.
Yes. And did you want to talk about the calendar for policy review?
Yes, so I was able to find, Bunny had previously mentioned that she thought that Mary Keim, one of our former trustees, had put together a schedule showing basically when all of the policies had last been reviewed, and I was able to find that in Dropbox. Based on our current recommendation, which is reviewing them every 3 years, we have a couple of them that have gone past that 3-year deadline, so I emailed the other 2 members of the Bylaws and Policy Committee. So we're going to divide those up. We'll take a look at those, see if there need to be any revisions, and then we'll be presenting those so that we can get back onto our 3-year schedule.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anything else on communications or advocacy?
No. Just the letter from Bunny.
Okay. We still do not have Neeraj. So, but that brings us to Bunny.
Any questions or comments on the director's report? I'll try to answer any questions.
I didn't have a question, but I did have a comment. I saw that Julie Rapp is going to be doing a story time at the Halloween thing.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about that, because I think in past years we had wished that we had collaborated with that event. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, the previous children's librarians, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback, so I don't know how well you can hear me. The previous children's librarians didn't participate every year. They did quite often, though.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be a story and craft. We may be using the Bremen Room for early voting, which means the Bremen Room will have to be cut in half. And if so, that really shrinks down the number of people that Julie can accommodate and whatever she can do, especially if she's doing a craft. So she showed me the craft today that she's going to be doing. It's very cute. It should be able to be done in the scaled down space if we need to do that. But yeah, I'm really glad that they're willing to do it this year, too.
And along that note, I saw that you noted in there talking about the Great Give Back event that was
Yes.
coming up. And I just wanted to say, I unfortunately was working, so I was not able to make it, but my husband took our daughter to it, and they just had nothing but wonderful things to say. She came home, she showed me everything that she had done, all her information. She won a raffle, so she was very excited about that. But he said that was just, a really great experience. He said, it seemed like there were lots of people there. It was organized. So kudos to everyone who was involved in putting that together, because, like I said, I heard all about it when I got home on Saturday.
Good.
I have just, can you give us a clarification on, I was excited to read that the Friends are going to be meeting with someone from the Foundation Library about recruitment and organizing. So do you have any information on that, Bunny?
Not much more than I probably gave you in this report. A colleague of mine, former colleague of mine, Lisa Wimette, she retired from the Webster Library. She was the assistant director there, and she became very involved on the state level with the Friends of Libraries section of NYLA. So when the Friends began to be presented with some challenges, I contacted Lisa and asked her if she would be willing to work with the Friends. She loves to go in and do things like that, sort of rejuvenate Friends organizations. So I've been supplying her with information, and so have some of the Friends, and they've been corresponding back and forth, and I think they have finally agreed that the date of the 28th is going to be a day when she can meet with them, with the other supporters of the Friends, the library, the foundation, the library board. She'll have some more concrete things to say at that, I think, and be able to solicit some more information from the people right on the front lines of that. So I think that's going to be a very productive meeting.
Oh, it sounds like they're going to get help in finally getting some consistent organization behind them, because I know they've needed help. So.
Yeah, Lisa is excellent at that, and that's a good omen that we got that many people who were going to be prospective volunteers for the Friends. That's exactly the kind of expansion she thinks our organization needs.
Okay.
I'm glad we were able to provide that. And I know Kathy Weber from the foundation asked me if I would go. Are other trustees able to go if they want to?
I'm sure. I'm sure
Okay.
we'd be welcome. We'd need to know ahead of time if anybody wants to be there in person or virtually, because we're going to set up the Bremen Room for it. So we just need to have an idea of the number.
So 11 o'clock on Friday, the 28th, that's this coming a week from Friday. I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to be there, and if somebody else wants to go.
The 28th is Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
I actually knew that. I'm sorry. Sometimes my mind is not as engaged as my mouth. I noticed you have Peggy O'Neill is going to be honored with a proclamation from Assemblymember Lunsford.
Yes.
Do you know when that's going to be?
Now I do. I didn't at the time that I wrote the report. It's going to be tomorrow at 3 p.m.
And is that going to be in the library?
Yes, we're going to have it in the Bremen Room.
We were thinking the trustees might do something for her. Just, maybe a bouquet or something.
Oh, how nice. I'm sure she'd like that. We haven't told Peggy. We're keeping it, she loves surprises, so we've kept it as kind of a surprise. So I'm sure she'd be delighted with any.
Well, hopefully she's not watching now.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. She is a pretty good follower of this, so I thought I might have just let the cat out of the bag.
Maybe she'll act surprised tomorrow.
She's a good actress.
So if anybody wants to be there tomorrow, could we come?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if that works into people's schedule, that would be nice to go and be able to say congratulations to Peggy, because that's quite an achievement.
Yes.
I wanted to thank you for including the program attendees from a couple of years ago, and this time so we can see, and it looked to me, going through all the attendees from 2019 into the early parts of 2020 with the recent months, that it's, that the programs are holding their own in attendance.
You can thank Deanna for that. Yes, we thought it would be more helpful to have that included right with the program, each program as it was mentioned, as we were reporting it currently, than it would be to have a separate
Yes.
document of that.
No, I think
So,
that
and
was-
Deanna assembled all that information.
Thank you, Deanna. Does anybody else have a comment, Bunny? Okay. We're going to, Neeraj, we'll have you do the finance report.
Yeah.
And then we will move on with new business and,
So this is the finance report. We're talking about numbers through September. The monthly balance sheet, it looks good, it looks positive. Gift and Memorial Fund, it's above the threshold right now. We still have 140,000, and we're at 147.
Neeraj, our goal is to spend that down.
I understand.
So we will have to, at some point soon, we
We-
will have to change the policy.
Yeah, we should change the policy, but right now the policy is the 140.
Yes.
And that's why I say that we're above that, which is fine. But yeah, going forward, as long as when we have a lower threshold, then that's good. On a monthly budget summary, if we move to that page, September, that's 9 months out of the year. That's 75%. So if we kind of focus on the last column, if you notice, this month, the real property taxes have been uploaded. You look at fines and copies, those are coming significantly under 75%, so that says that that's under budget on the revenue side. But there are other positive numbers on the revenue side, budget surplus, and the state aid is coming in higher. On the expense side, if you drop down to the last line first, it's coming in at 64%. Again, compared to 75%, that's good. That's really good overall on the expenses. We go to the most controllable items, wages, which happen to be the largest dollar amount. That's at 70% compared to 75%, so we're better by 5%. More controllable materials, we're only at 55%. That's 20% better than the 75%, but I'm assuming that we'll probably be ordering and using up a lot of the money in the next 3 months. Less controllable expenses are the contractuals. That's at 57%. It's unlikely that that's going to go up much higher unless there's large contracts or other stuff spent. So we're looking good.
Good. Is there a motion to approve the finance reports? Thanks, Jim. And Judy seconds. All in favor? Thank you. One of the things, this is just more of a note than anything, I asked Bunny if she would prepare an outline of what she does, kind of month by month, very top level, to kind of help in the transition. And Bunny has also agreed that if we, depending on who is selected and the time frame, that she would be willing to stay on and assist the person in getting acclimated to the Penfield Public Library. So we are appreciative of that. one of the things that I've done is, there seems to be confusion. The 2 or 3 checks we've gotten lately, it seems to be like, how are we doing this? And even though we have a policy. So I reached out to Bonadio, which works with nonprofits, and asked them if they would be willing to help us look at our policy. Maybe we don't have the best policy. That's always possible. Maybe they would suggest that we could do something else. But just to make sure everything is smooth and we're all on the same page, because I think that is important going forward. And otherwise, the person who is left kind of wondering, okay, what do I do with this is Deanna.
Correct.
And that's not a fair position to put her in. So I think this would bring some clarity. So next month, we should have a proposal from them, and it should not be anything that's major, but I just wanted to say that that was going to be coming. And we all received emails from Danny, Peggy, and I'm sorry, I forgot the other person,
Lara Jacoby.
who went to the Rush Henrietta Library, and they had obviously a very busy time. They had a lot of conversations, and I thought it was very interesting to hear what they said about the programming and also about the space. So are they going to go to other libraries? Are different groups going to other libraries?
I think the same group is planning to go to Chilai. I don't know if they are recruiting any others to go with them. I don't have a timetable for that. I let them work that out with the people at the hosting library about when it's the best for them to do it.
Well, I think it is helpful, as I know that the architect and his staff will want to meet with the library staff, and I think it's helpful that the library staff have been out and they've seen other spaces and how the spaces are used for programs similar to ours, maybe different from ours, so they have some kind of perspective, and I just think it's going to really enrich those discussions. So thank you for giving them the time and encouraging them to do that.
I think it was also a great idea exchange, Bunny, that the librarians that they met with from Henrietta and our librarians, they did have time, it seems, to talk and discuss and share ideas. So, and from what I read, or what I guess interpreted, is they came back with sharing ideas and some other things that we could do.
Right.
So, I thought it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, those are always beneficial.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading it. It's nice to go in as a patron and kind of see all the different libraries, but I enjoyed also reading kind of like the operations of the other libraries, where I think in one of the reports it said that they were able to do Zoom meetings, like for like staff meetings for children librarians or something like that. There was something like, and we can, now that we're in a different kind of stage, we can leverage a lot of technology as well, or run different operations different ways.
Yes. We are now at time for the claims payment.
I would like to make a motion to pay claims in the amount of $19,951.14.
A second.
All right, we have to vote too?
Yes.
All in favor?
Okay.
And Bunny, can you, because Denise is not here, she asked if I gave this to you, can you bring it to the library and she will come tomorrow and sign it?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And we need to appoint an auditor for next time. And it won't be Megan because she has a Girl Scout meeting. And we know that, and our meeting is going to be on November 15th, which is a Monday, so we should keep that. And when I first read your email, I thought, oh no, they changed it to Monday instead of Tuesday, and then I realized it was next month.
I had the same thought.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay,
Tried to
that's
make it-
okay.
Oh, I just didn't read carefully.
You were clear. It just,
So there were several of us who all made the same mistake. But anyhow, Megan will not be the auditor.
But
We will
only
see
one
if
of
we
us
can get
showed
Brooke.
up yesterday.
Oh, no.
I was wondering, I said that, I was in the parking lot, and I said, nobody, then I looked at the emails, and then it said November.
so it wasn't just me.
It wasn't just you.
No, it was, there was nobody here.
Well, that would be why.
you,
But Monday, November 15th,
Yes,
we
I
should
got
all be
that.
here. I'm going to ask Brett again because if he will be willing to be auditor. And if not, Rachel, it's your turn.
Okay.
So we'll see. And we are going to have an informal executive session after this meeting, and we are talking about additional criteria for our director search, and Deanna has offered to stay and take notes for us, so we will be happy to have her do that. Is there a motion to adjourn? Neeraj? Is there a second?
second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you at home for watching, and we will see you on Monday, November 15th.